Hello students, I made this quick video to show you how to code using your ICD-10 coding manual. So let's do a quick review on that. I have a scenario for you to work on, but before I do that, let's review the difference between the ICD-10 and CPT coding and how do we know what are we coding for and what manual to pick. Remember, ICD-10 means International Classification of the Diseases. That means you're coding for the disease or diagnosis presented by the patient. And D stands for disease. So whenever you have to code for a problem, a disease, you always pick up your ICD book. All right. The D is for the diagnosis, just for you to remember. Similar to that, CPT. CPT is your current procedural terminology, meaning we code for the procedure. What did the doctor do for the patient? The do is the procedure the doctor is performing on the patient, and it could be anything: anesthesia, surgery, biopsy, a lab x-ray, or anything like that. So we want to remember the P stands for procedure, and we want to ask that question every time we pick up the manual. So this is the scenario we're going to be coding for. Patient is seen for an acute recurrent frontal sinusitis. Physician prescribed an antibiotic and will see him in 2 weeks. So what are we coding for? Remember, we're coding for ICD-10, so we're looking for a problem. What is the problem? Acute recurrent frontal sinusitis. This is not a procedure. This is a diagnosis. So we will pick up our ICD-10 book for this. And before we go there, I want you to review the steps with me. The first thing to do is to always find out the keywords. Okay, what are my keywords to be looking for in the index? The keywords are the source of your main term. So for example, if you're looking for acute recurrent frontal sinusitis, what is my main term? Main term is always one word. We cannot be looking for the whole 4 words altogether. So usually if you have too many words in your diagnosis, you start with the last word and you start moving towards the left. So this is your first word. The second, third, and fourth can be in any order, we are not sure, but we will look for all these words in our index. So once we find the main term in the index, we are going to look for the codes in the index following the main term subterm. We will confirm the codes in the tabular section of the ICD-10. We will review the guidelines and confirm the final code and match the keywords. What does that mean? Whatever words you found in the index has to match everything given in your scenario. So you have to make sure you have all these words found in the index: acute, recurrent, frontal sinusitis. So what am I looking for in the index? Index main term, right? The main term is going to be sinusitis, as we discussed. And then you have to follow the subterms. Everything that comes after the main term, the first sinusitis word, is going to be a subterm. And the subterms can be several, and they have to follow a certain ladder pattern in order for you to make sure you are finding the correct code. It's just like a dictionary. When you find a dictionary, you have 2-3 words, you keep going down in a ladder pattern. And once you find the code, you will go to your tabular section to confirm the guidelines and that all the keywords match. So where is the index? You always go to your content in the very beginning of the book, and then you will see the index is divided into part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 1 is your guidelines and your illustrations to look at the anatomy if you need to. Part 2 is your index, and the index is also divided into 4 kinds, but the major alphabetic index is the first one, index of diseases and injuries. The third part is all the chapters that you have from chapter 1 to chapter 21. So you have 21 chapters, each divided into a different section. So if I ask you what's the section or what's the chapter for your digestive system, you will take a look at this and you will focus on it if you can. And if you can see it, it is K00, K95, and it also gives you the page number 938. I'm not sure why it's not focusing, but this is a good place to find your different sections of the book if you are confused. So remember, the index is usually the first gray section of the book, all right? And as you go to the gray section, you will see it goes from the alphabets it's organized according to the alphabets, and it says index to diseases and injuries on the top. And as you follow the alphabets, also given at the edge of the book, you will find the letter S and look for sinusitis. So here we are. And here we are looking at the term sinusitis right here. And remember, the first word you find is always the main term. And as you go down, looking for the rest of the words, acute was our second word because it is acute sinusitis. And then we continue to look down. It says ethmoidal, which is not the right word. So I will go down on the same line. I see frontal. And under frontal, I see recurrent. Those are my first four words, and I found them in the correct order. So the first word is called main term. Everything else after that is a subterm. You also see a lot of terms right next to sinusitis under a parentheses. They are called non-essential modifiers. That means that these are the default words you can use to code for in case if the doctor writes just sinusitis, or maybe he says hyperplastic, purulent, non-purulent. They are all the same words written differently by different doctors. Okay, so these are described as non-essential modifiers. Now that we have found our main term and subterms, we have to finalize our code. So as we went down this ladder pattern of the main term and subterms, what is the final code we are looking over here for? It is J01.11. That's the code given to us in the index, and we have to verify that in the tabular before we put this code on a claim form. Remember, eventually, what you are doing with this code is putting it on a claim form to submit to insurance company to get the doctor paid for his services done for this diagnosis. So now we are going to find the tabular section as per our steps. So now we are headed towards the tabular section of the book, and you will go to the second half of the book, start going through these colored pages. All these colors are for different systems, different chapters of the book, and you're using those colored pages because there are alphabetical alphanumeric codes posted on top of the page, and you're looking for J. So as you follow these letters, you will find your J code. Turning the pages over, you can also put a tab on these pages and put a letter on it so you get to them quickly, which is a good step to take care of for your CPC exam. So once you find your J code page, you are looking for the code ranges given on both sides of the page. And once you find that code range, you will see your codes on that page. So you can see how you are on the respiratory system, you are on the J codes, and you see your J01, which is the code we were looking for, J01.11. And you can see it goes from your J01. Remember, the first three digits of your ICD-10 are called category. And these are the terms that you have to learn because the questions are going to be according to this language that I'm trying to show you. So the first three digits is always, sorry about the interruption. The first three digits of any disease is a category code, and it is the mother code giving you one general problem, and then you subdivide all these problems with other associations. So for acute sinusitis, is not just acute sinusitis, it grows further into maxillary, frontal, ethmoidal, into acute, unspecified, recurrent. So as you go down, you're going to find your code. Remember, we were looking for J01. 11, and it says acute recurrent frontal sinusitis. Great, I have all the four words I was looking for. Remember, anything missing or not there can be a problem for me to confirm my final code, and it could be a problem with the insurance company unless it's not there. If it's not given in the book, then it's not your problem. So category, subcategory is anything starting with four codes. So until 3, it's category. If you have more than 3 digits, 3 to 7 digits are your maximum number in your ICD-10. So from 3 to 7 digit is your subcategory code. Okay, so remember, you have a lot of notes given here, includes use additional. In case if sinusitis was associated with the bacterial infection, then you have to go, the book is telling you, helping you, giving you a coding guideline. These are all coding guidelines given here and in another section of the book, giving you the guidelines to go and find another code for the infectious agent to be coded after the first code. When it says use additional, that means it comes after the first code, which is your J01.11. Okay, so I'm kind of giving you a little bit of additions to understand why you see so many notes and why do you see a red dot. What does that mean? So it is at the bottom of the page. You see it says the red dot is for use additional characters. That means anytime you see a red dot on a code, you cannot use it on your claim form. You cannot use it as your answer on any questions that you're doing for any exams. Make sure the red dot is not there. So when you see the code here, where do you go? In your actual code J0111, there is no red dot, right? So that means we have the right code. Okay, so we did the whole steps of ICD. We reviewed some of the coding guidelines. I also want you to go to the content section and look for the first part. Part 1 is for your guidelines, and that is a section that explains the guideline, which is just like a Bible to this book, and you have to make sure you follow that very aggressively, because that is the key to passing a CPC exam. So we did this index, we found all these terms, we found the code, went to the tabular, and we confirmed our codes. Hopefully this video helped you. If you need any help, please do write that down in the comment section, and I will try to make you another similar video to help you out with coding. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.